Whew. Hey, girl, hey. Get a little light. Get a little light. Move this. And move this. And then do that. There we go. Hey, girl, hey. Hit the share button, knees. Hit the share button. Hit the share button, knees. Go ahead and tag somebody who need to hear this. Tag somebody. I'm trying to grow my part in. Don't be looking at that. I'm trying to grow my part in. I didn't want it anymore. Go ahead and tag somebody black who need to hear this. Tag somebody black who making excuses for these white people. Go ahead and tag their name, knees. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit share. Go ahead and tag one of your black coworkers that's making all these excuses for this white girl, Amber. What's her last name? Amber Guyger. And for all of the white people watching, don't get offended, niece. I'm only going to give it to you straight up, no chaser. I'm going to give it to you straight up, no chaser, niece. But I do believe that there are some white people that are watching that are going to pick up everything that I'm putting down. I think there's some white people that are watching that are going to really understand where I'm coming from, and they are just as outraged as some of us black folks. Now, there are also going to be some white folks that are watching that are not going to appreciate what I'm saying. And that's okay too. Hey girl, hey, hey boy, hey. Good day thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig TheWriter Stewart, and this is the Facebook and YouTube live versions of So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Niece, hit the share button now. Now, I had a friend that was supposed to come over here and have a conversation with me about this, but I do believe that he got a little cold feet. He got a little cold feet because we had relatively similar ideas and opinions about this whole Amber Guyger and Botham Jean case down in Dallas, Texas. If you have not heard about it, I don't know what rock you've been under. But we had similar opinions about it, but we had one fundamental difference in opinion, which I think is pretty big. He believed that it was an accident. He believed that she did accidentally go into his apartment and she was startled, she was scared, and she shot and killed him. Now, I'm just not willing to believe that. Now, I really wanted to have the conversation with somebody else because I felt like, and this is a black person that I was going to have the conversation with tonight. I really wanted to have it with someone else, this dialogue, because I wanted to be able to record it as a podcast. Because, you know, there are people who listen to the podcast that don't necessarily come on the Facebook and YouTube lives, right? So I wanted them to hear it as well. But I made some notes. Throughout the day. Just different things that I've been thinking about along the way. And first and foremost, I want to kind of frame the conversation by saying that, because there's so many layers to this, there's so many components to this. For me, the issues that I've had with this whole case is, yes, the amount of time she was given. She was only given 10 years because, in my opinion, I'm from Baltimore. Look, I grew up with Negroes that got more jail time for weed and coke. I said I grew up with guys who got more time for just, you know, carrying a controlled substance. So, you know, for me, 10 years was a drop in the bucket, especially when you factor in she's probably going to get out on good behavior. 3 to 5 years she'll probably serve. So that was my first issue. My other issue was earlier this year in Dallas, there was a guy named Tamor McIntyre. Those of you that live in Dallas, you probably already know this. He was, let me see, he was, I think he's 17 years old. This was earlier in the year. He was 17 years old. He got 55 years. He was given 55 years for aggravated robbery. Aggravated robbery, he got 55 years. Then there was another case, and I don't remember, I remember this woman's face, and I have a picture of her in my phone and stuff like that, but I can't remember her name. But I'm going to tell it to you, and I'm sure you're going to remember. Remember the black woman, I think this was I want to say it was in Florida. It may have been in Texas, though. But remember the black woman that was standing her ground, and she was on her property, she was in her garage or something, and she shot up in the air. And remember they put her in jail. She got 20 years. She didn't even shoot a bitch. She didn't even shoot nobody. She shot up in the... I said she shot up in the... And she got... Oh, okay. But the stories like that go on. It was Florida, right? I thought that was Florida. Thank you, Tanari. I thought that was Florida. But the bottom line is the story, yeah, it was warning shots. And I mean, these stories go on and on and on and on and on, right? So those were some observations that I made and I put down in my notes. Now, the biggest offense for me, the most egregious of it all, was that the judge came down off her bench. The judge came down off her bench and gave Amber a hug. I mean, I don't know about any of you, but I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. I mean, this black woman descended from the bench. She climbed off the bench to give this lady, a murderer, a hug. Now, I'm going to sit on this part for a moment because I have so many things to say about that, okay? First and foremost, I don't know if the judge is from the South, and the reason that I'm saying this, stay with me, the reason that I'm saying I don't know if she's from the South or not is because a lot of times geography plays a part in how you see yourself, if you're a black person, in comparison to white people. Because more times than not, and I'm not saying that there aren't some northern black folks that are fetch and sketch in front of white folks, but what I'm saying is a lot of times you see that kind of behavior from black folks that live in the South. Your Mississippi Delta areas, your South Carolina areas, you know, those kinds of areas, right? Because in some of those regions, white folks have done such a great job of keeping black folks in those regions in check, right? We don't tend to go for that kind of foolishness up north. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is that kind of foolishness, so I don't know if the judge is from one of those regions where on some subconscious level, she feels subordinate to white people. I don't know. And I think it's important to talk about that or to mention that because that's a problem within the black community, right? That's a problem within the black community. Some of us, not me, some of us have this insatiable desire to pacify white folks. Some of us, not me. And for all of the white folks that are watching, I already said this at the beginning, I'm not at all, I just want us to stay on the same page. Like, hopefully you're not offended. If you are, so be it. But hopefully you're not. Hopefully, because I want us to be able to have an intellectual conversation. And I think, and I've said this before, I think a part of what I was called to do, my work, my life work, is to have these difficult conversations, right? But I think that what happens in the black community sometimes, not all the time, because again, I don't suffer from that. And I know many of you that are watching me don't suffer from it either. But some of us are so concerned with what white people think, are so concerned with the white gaze, G-A-Z-E. Toni Morrison used to write about and talk about the white gaze. So many of us are so concerned about what they think. And I'm gonna give you some examples, because you know I love a metaphor. You know I love a good example. You ever go into a store and there's a black associate and he or she gives your black ass subpar service, but then a white person comes in right before you or right after you, and their level of customer service just goes up. Hi, how are you? They get the red carpet. I've had that happen. And so I give you that just to illustrate a point. You know, my point is some of us are so concerned with the affection and acceptance of white folks that we can't even see our worth. We can't even see our value. What I will add to that is that reaches back to slavery. That kind of behavior, it reaches back to slavery. And that's a condition. It's a conditioning of a thinking, right? And this is why I talk all of the time and on just a regular night when we on here talking and chit-chatting. This is why I say all of the time, it is very important that you and we learn to separate religion and the Bible from spirituality and God. Those are two separate entities. Those are two separate entities, because that way of thinking, it reaches back to slavery. And that same, some of you Bible thumping, gospel word, and that reaches back to slavery. And I'm telling you, when I get done with this fourth book, and I know I keep saying it, I'm not trying to tease you at all, but when I tell you, in this fourth book, there's a chapter called Faith versus Religion. And I'm talking about how religion was given to us. Christianity was given to us. African slaves always had spirituality. They always had a level of spirituality and a spiritual connection, right? But Christianity was given to us. And along with Christianity came the Bible, right? And the Bible and Christianity was the only thing that the colonizer, aka white people, that was the only thing that they allowed us to have. They didn't allow us to have education. They didn't allow us to read. They didn't allow us to have our own families. They didn't allow us no freedom. The only thing they allowed us to have was religion. Now, why do you think they allowed us to have religion? That was the only freedom that they gave us. You could sing and praise the Christian God as long as you wanted. You could do that they gave you that. They allowed us to do that. because they knew that that would carry, they knew that they would be able to control us generationally. Generationally. So, along with all of that is this idea that some black folks have, and it's not all of us. Some black folks are so convinced on a DNA level, that they are subordinate to white folks. And so they're I'm gonna give you another example, because you know I love examples. My mom dated a guy for years. And he's dead now, God rest his soul. But he was from the South. He was from like South or North Carolina. I think he was from South Carolina. And he was a little older than my mom, and he didn't really know his exact birth date, because he was old enough and from that region. And I know there are people, he probably was, if he was still alive, he probably would be in his 80s right now. And I know that there are some 80-year-olds who know their exact age and that kind of thing. But remember, he was from the South. He was from a deep country town in like South Carolina. So he was from that region and from that time that white folks didn't really keep records of, they didn't keep records of that kind of stuff. And he was a sharecropper, like he was out in the fields and he didn't have much education, blah, blah, blah. When I tell you, and I grew up in Baltimore, right? And so my mom met him in Baltimore. But he had this mentality. Whenever we were around white people, he would shrink. I could visibly see him shrink. My mother and I used to talk about this. He would shrink in front of white people. And what I'm saying to you is, some of us still have that, right? All the way in 2019. Now, I don't know that judge who adjudicated this case. I don't know where she's from. I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's one of those people. I don't know. But I can't really understand what would possess her in her position to come down off that bench to give this girl, a convicted murderer at this point, a hug. First of all, it wasn't protocol. Second, it wasn't professional. Third, it's unprecedented. I've never seen, not even in a traffic violation, I've never seen a judge come down off the bench to give a convicted killer a hug. I don't even, the judge in the Trayvon Martin case, nobody even hugged his family. I don't remember nobody hugging Sandra Bland's family. Hell, they didn't even want to admit that they killed her. I mean, if we really being honest. I mean, I'm talking about unarmed black people who were killed. Nobody ever came down to hug those people, those families. These are people who were absolutely innocent. Like nobody hugged them. So like, what would possess her to do that? And here's the other part of it is, a couple days before the verdict, or not a couple days before the verdict, but the day of the verdict, some of you probably saw it. There was a video that was floating around on social media of the judge right before she went to hand down the verdict. And remember, it was like she was dancing. And I remember seeing all of these comments under the video where it was mostly black folks were excited because they were thinking that this judge was one of us, for lack of a better word. They thought she was one of us. They were like, oh, yeah, she's excited. But then a few moments later, she even came off the bench to hug the girl. Now, my concern is this. There were so many flaws in the case. So many flaws. First of all, the girl didn't even offer the man CPR. So even if you did think that you were in the wrong apartment, which I still can't, I can't even wrap my brain around that concept. Because if I came into this, listen, if I went down to Betty's apartment by mistake, y'all know Betty. Y'all been watching me long enough to who know who Betty is. Betty is a 91 or 90-year-old white woman that lived down the hall. She fell outside the building one day and I went and helped her, da 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 da. That's just like if I went into Betty's condo one night by mistake. Now, I know my condo ain't decorated like Betty's apartment. I don't have floral. I don't have florals all around. I mean, Betty got an easy boy chair like laid out in her living. I don't have no easy boy in my house. You understand what I'm saying? When you walk in, you're gonna be like, oh, wait a minute. Nothing signaled her that she was in the wrong place. And my thing is, if you went into his apartment and he was there and you were really threatened, then why didn't you just back out and leave? Even if he was walking towards you, why didn't you just go back out? And then if you shot him, you couldn't have just shot him in his leg to make him immobile? Like, you couldn't have just shot him in his leg? But then you shot him in his heart, and one of his ventricles or his aorta or something split, didn't they say? Now, you didn't even try to give him CPR, but then you text messaged or contacted this cop that you had this sexual relationship with. Like, it's just so many flaws. It's just so many flaws. And oh God, and then let's talk about the court officer. Why is she fluffing the girl's hair? Why is she fixing the girl's hair? And see, this is what I say all of the time. This is why I said to you guys yesterday, I want you guys to find 3 black businesses to support by Sunday. And it doesn't have to be black, but find 3 minority businesses. Because I believe that we have a responsibility, especially as people of color. I don't care if you're black, if you're Hispanic, Asian. I feel that as people of color, we have a responsibility to each other, especially black folks. We have a responsibility to each other to be sweeter and kinder to each other, because the world gives us hell. The world already gives us hell, right? So I just believe we have a responsibility. And my thing is, what bothers me is, where was that type of sensitivity when what was Trayvon Martin's best friend's name? She was Haitian too. What was her name? Come on, thinkers, thought leaders. I know somebody in here knows her name. What was my girl's name? Her name was similar to this boy Botham. Her last name was like, wasn't her name like, was it? What was her name, y'all? Help me understand. What was her name, y'all? Do y'all remember? She was Trayvon Martin's best friend, and he was on the phone with her. Rachel Gentile. Yes, come on, C8701 over here on YouTube. Yes, Rachel Gentile. Some of us, black folks, made fun of that girl because she couldn't speak fluent English. She was Haitian, and you could tell she didn't, maybe didn't get the best education or wasn't really absorbing the education since being in this country. But black folks were making fun of her. There were memes about her. That's what I'm saying. We have a responsibility to be sweeter and kinder and to be more compassionate to each other. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to do that. We laughed at her. We mocked her in the trials that were on CNN. We laughed at the way she spoke. We laughed at her broken English. We laughed at her because her subject and verbs didn't agree. Not really considering the fact that she was a teenager and that she was on the world stage. Like, the world was watching that. And you got to remember, this girl was a teenager. Think about when you were a teenager. Can you imagine testifying in the trial, a major trial like that? And you in this courtroom with all of these attorneys. And can you imagine how intimidating that could have been or would have been? But like, I mean, I'm really, really saddened by this whole thing because it's and let me go here really quickly. I saw all of these posts from some of you Hotep black folks, And I know I know I'm probably stepping on some toes in here, but it's okay. Listen, we can disagree. Y'all don't have to agree with me, and that's okay. These are just my thoughts in my voice, right? But like, I saw under like some because I posted on my Facebook and I posted on my Instagram, and of course I scroll through other people's pages too. And let me start by saying this: if the family wants to forgive her for their mental wellness and well-being, I'm okay with that. Now, I can't necessarily say I understand that. I can't say that I understand that. But perhaps for their wellness, their mental wellness, okay, the brother hugged the girl, but I can't understand the judge, and I can't understand the officer and who was rubbing the girl's hair. And I saw somebody said they were checking for contraband. Honey, listen, if they hadn't checked for contraband by the time she sat in there and they were on trial, then they should have been done that. But the issue that I have with the folk who were in the comments up under these posts, talking about, well, God said we should forgive in the Bible. See, this, I'm going back to this Bible thing. Y'all better separate that Bible stuff. And I know some of y'all were raised that the Bible is, but you got to remember that Bible was passed down generationally. That Bible wasn't written for us. I don't care what y'all say. And you know that I'm spiritual. You know I'm spiritual. You know I believe in a higher power, a higher source. You know I get down on my knees every night and I pray, and I say to you guys at the end of every video, say your prayers, brush your teeth. I say all that kind of stuff. Because again, I separate Bible, church, and religion from spirituality and your connection with God. So I separate the two. Part of the reason, listen, I know what side of the fence I would have been on if I was born in slave times. I'm not trying to sit here and try to pretend like I would have been some abolitionist. I don't know. But I know one thing. When Harriet or Nat Turner or somebody would have came whispering in my ear, I'd have been sitting there right there, all ears and ready to go with the plan. And see, some of you Bible people, y'all have been sitting there talking, well, no, we can't go. We can't. And this is why I say I understood what Kanye was trying to say. Now, I think he fucked up his words when he said slavery was a choice. I don't believe slavery was a choice. I think he fucked up his words when he said that. But what I do think is slavery was prolonged for many reasons. Yes, we didn't have the language here. Yes, we were on a foreign territory. We were on foreign land. Yes, they had all of the weaponry. They had guns and all that shit. But I also believe some of our mentality kept us behind. Because see, we weren't connected. See, some of y'all ancestors got caught up in that Bible stuff that the colonizers gave y'all. See, they gave y'all that Bible, y'all got wrapped up in that Bible, and y'all didn't want to question anything because they conditioned you to believe that you can't question the Bible and religion and all that stuff. And see, that trickles down to these Instagram posts where y'all in the comments talking about, well, I just believe that we got to turn the other cheek, and what would God do, and all that nonsense y'all talking. First of all, see, y'all you apologists, look it up if you don't know what it is. You apologists, listen, some of you are such apologists. You just make excuse after excuse for the way white folks have treated us. And this doesn't mean that it's all white people. So if you're in here and you're white, you shouldn't be offended. But again, like I said earlier, I'm sure there's some white people that are watching this that are picking up exactly what I'm putting down. Because there are white people that are seeing these atrocities and they are just ashamed. But my point is, some of you black folks, and again, it goes back to a mentality that we were conditioned to believe, going back all the way to slavery. Some of you just make excuse after excuse because you're just so eager and so anxious for white people to see your worth, to see your value. Baby, it ain't going to happen. And I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there will always be racism. That's what I believe. Now, y'all don't have to agree with that, but I believe there will always be racism. Do I think that the playing fields can be leveled more? Absolutely. Absolutely, the playing fields could be leveled more. I see you, Amy. That's my girlfriend up there in Michigan. But I think the playing fields can be leveled, absolutely. But do I think that there will always be disparities? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so somebody commented today, was talking about the Bible, and God said we should forgive, and and God gives us second chances. Oh, okay. Okay. That don't mean that it's like we use religion to justify all of this foolishness. Somebody commented on somebody's page today, and I was up under the comments, and I said, "Spoken like a true apologist. I'm sorry, but your response epitomizes the long-lasting effects of white Christianity and Bible talk. Oh, how religion has severely hurt us as a people. It's one thing for the brother, for Botham, Jean's brother. It's one thing for the brother to make amends for his mental wellness and health. It's another for court officials to pacify a murderer. When have you ever seen a white judge and court officer offer this kind of compassion or empathy to a black killer? Even somebody black that actually killed somebody. You ain't never seen them come down off the bench and give them a hug. The answer is never. And what's even more disappointing is how many black folks that are so eager to rally around this white woman that wouldn't give a damn about your life. And some of you just lack the same empathy and compassion for your own people. You lack the same empathy and compassion for your own people. How many unarmed black men and women that were killed did you raise a brow of suspicion? You understand what I'm saying? Like, even with some of these unarmed black people that have been killed, some black folks look at them like, well, what did he do before the camera started rolling? Well, he must have done something. He should have just laid down. He should have just stopped. Why did he run? like you justify why some of these black folks have been shot down. But you look at this white girl and you think, oh, she didn't mean it. Oh, it was a mistake. I mean, y'all something. What was this other thing that I had down here? Oh, and then what is this? So then somebody on my comment said, somebody in one of my comments, when the brother hugged the girl, Amber. When the brother hugged Amber, they're Haitian. The family, Botham's family is Haitian, right? And so when I posted that picture of the brother hugging the girl, somebody in the comments said, "Girl, they Haitian. That brother just locked in that voodoo curse on her when he hugged her. He just locked in that voodoo curse. He wasn't really forgiving her." But I don't know. I'm really disappointed. I'm really saddened. But beyond us coming on here and talking about it, and beyond us posting comments and our fits of outrage, this is why it is important for us to mobilize. This is why I say to you all of the time, it is. Oh, they're from St. Lucia. Oh, okay. Somebody in the comments said they were from Haiti. But I just think that it's really important that we really start to build and galvanize, because the only way that things will really start to change considerably is if we start divesting, pulling our money out. If we start divesting from all of these corporations that don't mean us that don't mean us well, and start investing that money into black-owned businesses, and I'm sure many of you know this, some of you may not, but just before Dr. King was killed, that was his plan. His plan was to march on Washington and to demand reparations and to really talk about divesting black folks, black Americans, people of color, to start divesting our money from the economy and start pouring that money into black-owned businesses. But see, we have to start trusting each other. Because see, this goes all the way, again, a lot of this shit is rooted, it's systemic, it's rooted in slavery. A lot of this shit, our lack of trust. Oh, I don't support black businesses, child. I ain't fooling with them niggas. Them niggas ain't, You know how y'all do. Not all of you, some of you. It's okay if I'm stepping on your toes. You know, this is the teachable moment. This is I ain't fooling with them niggas. Last time I went to a black-owned business, You can't label all black-owned businesses. There are white folks that go to white businesses that get poor service, but they don't all of a sudden say, oh, I ain't supporting no white businesses. You can't say, you have to take them on an individual basis. Because we run good black business up here at Impeccable Work. But you know, and it goes back to what I was saying to you the other day. We all have social media, because clearly we all on here, right? We all have social media, right? So when you support a business that you know is black owned, when you support a business that you know is black owned, and you know they do a damn good job, and you know they're good at what they do. I don't give a damn if it's a tailor. I don't care if it's a dry cleaner. I don't care if it's a restaurant. I don't care if it's a tax preparer. My tax person is black. My tax person is black. And I remember growing up, like all my doctors were black, my dentists, my orthodontists, you know, and I'm not saying that you can't support other people, but what I'm saying is the majority of your money needs to be within the black community. Jewish people do it. And I can't quote you the statistics, but I think the Jewish dollar, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Jewish dollar circulates within the Jewish community at least 7 times before it comes out of the Jewish community. In other words, if I was a Jewish man, I'm gonna grocery shop at a Jewish grocery store. If I gotta go to the dry cleaners, it's gonna be a Jewish owned. Oh, I am right. Thank you, L. Oscar. It is 7 times. If I'm a Jewish man, I'm gonna go to a Jewish tailor. If I'm a Jewish man, I'm gonna go to Jewish restaurants. The only time I'm gonna go outside of that Jewish community is if it's something that I can't get from a Jewish-owned store. We gotta be better at that. And so let me go back to the point that I was making. We all have social media. We all have social media. Start using your social media for good. Instead of posting these dumbass fights, showing us fighting and carrying on like a bunch of idiots. Weaves and shit falling all out. Stop posting that crap. We got a So Much to Say podcast pen pal group on Facebook. I don't let that stuff come through the group. Nikki and I are the administrators of that group. So we see every post that comes through there. We don't post that stuff. We ain't posting that. And you need to stop posting the fights and all that ignorant shit anyway, because if you're looking for work, ain't nobody gonna hire you posting that ignorant trash. I done told y'all before, I know folk that work in HR. They look at your social media before they even look at your resume. They go look you up on social media and you got all that ignorant shit. You all at the hookah lounge, you posting fights and shit. They ain't hiring you. That's why you sitting over there now twiddling your thumbs trying to look for work. But we all have social media. Let me make that point because I keep diverting from it. We all have social media. When you find a black-owned business that you really support and yet you really fuck with, that you really like, because they do great work or they do, I don't care if they messed up one time. I don't care. Stop being so hard on each other. I don't care if they messed up one time. Okay, they fucked up your order once. It's okay. If you know you got a black-owned business, it's a grocery store that you support, with a black-owned bank. I told y'all 2 years ago, I opened up a black-owned bank. Now I got who else I got? I got SunTrust too. I got Fidelity also, but I also got One United, which is a black-owned bank. It's the largest owned black-owned bank in the country. I posted the link over in the So Much to Say podcast pen pal group of all of the black-owned banks in this country. You gotta listen. We gotta start somewhere. Y'all not taking y'all break y'all neck out here to Black Friday to support these businesses that don't support you. How many of y'all already plotting and planning right now for the day after Thanksgiving? You can be out here shopping and spending money that you don't need to be spending. Some of this shit we can clean up ourselves. I still ain't make the point about social media. We all got social media. I'm going to say it right now. We all got social media. If there's a business that you like, that you enjoy, that you share it on your social media. Let people know, hey, what's up? Y'all post every fucking thing else. Post that. Hey, what's up, y'all? I just tried the best black restaurant. It's downtown Fort Lauderdale, or it's downtown Houston, or it's over here in Buffalo, New York, wherever it is. Go ahead and post that shit and let people know. Oh, they do an amazing job. It could be an ice cream shop. I don't give a damn what kind of business it is. If you go there and you enjoy their service and what they do, somebody else needs it too. Hey, what's up, y'all? My tax preparer is a black woman. She's retired. She used to work for the IRS. She's really good at what she does. Here's her information. Take a picture of that lady business card and put it on your social media. That's how that shit will metastasize. It will spread like a cancer. You understand what I'm saying? This is why when you guys purchase the books, right? I always ask you, especially those of you that are getting free books, I always ask you to please post a picture of your book on your social media. Because guess what? Somebody can be scrolling down with their nosy ass and be like, oh, well, what book is this? They may not stop and buy the book right away, but you've planted a seed. You planted the seed, niece. You planted the seed. Like when I'm eating, like how many of you have gone out and bought one of them punanis from Tassili's because you saw me sitting here talking about it? Now, I could have been a selfish motherfucker and just sat here and ate it and told you what it was, but never told you where I got it from. But I knew if I sat here and ate it, and I don't get paid for that. I don't know those people. I told y'all that the other day. I don't get paid for that. But they do. They're a little slow. Now, I told y'all you need to call your order in ahead of time. Now, I'm going to keep it honest with you. I'm going to keep it real. Now, call your order in. Okay? Call your order in, niece. But my point is, I shared that with you because it's a black-owned business. And I know that if I come on here and talk about it, word of mouth is your best marketing tool. And word of mouth on social media is adding gasoline to that. You understand what I'm saying? You're adding gasoline. Now, I've sat on here and I've talked about that punani. Valerie Smith Britton, she over there in Huntsville, Alabama. She told one of her girlfriends. Her girlfriend drove down here for something. She stopped over there and got a punani. Somebody was here from Chicago. They stopped over. Some of you have sent me messages saying, oh my God, I went and tried that punani. Hell, Averill DuVernay came over here. The first thing she said to me was, Craig, can I get a punani? Hell, I was flying down to Texas. She asked me to bring one on the plane. I said, girl, it ain't gonna hold overnight now. You know, through security and all of that. But, you know, that's how we share. But see, we're so scared to share, and we're so scared to put people on. Yeah, it's just like that Popeye's chicken sandwich went viral. Y'all posting pictures of that? Post pictures of some meaningful shit. Sometimes. And I'm not getting on y'all. You know I love y'all. I love black people. And just because I'm for black people doesn't mean I'm against anybody else. I just have a responsibility to uplift my people. Because ain't nobody else looking out for us. And so, you know, again, I appreciate you guys for supporting the books. And, you know, you give me the opportunity to donate books to underprivileged black and brown LGBTQ people and parents who sometimes can't afford the book. So I appreciate you doing that. So just the same way that you guys support me, turn that shit around in your neighborhood. Do that in your neighborhood. And get your asses out there to vote. I don't want to hear no shit. I don't want to hear nothing about y'all didn't register and you passed the deadline. I done told y'all for the past couple of days, you need to be somewhere registered. RockTheVote.com. Go over there and make sure your paperwork is right, because voter suppression is real. Listen, Brenda Baines said her son-in-law is a photographer. He's in Atlanta. It's called Q Terry Photography. You better promote in them comments. So listen, what I'm saying to you is like when like if you just got married and you used a black bakery or a black-owned cake designer company, share that information. Share that information, niece. Oh, it's not as hard as we make it. But see, going back to what I was saying, we were conditioned through slavery not to trust each other. That's why we find it so hard to support each other in business. It ain't just because you had a bad experience. And I know that's the narrative that you like to tell yourself. Oh, well, I don't support black businesses because they just. And I know some of y'all listening to me right now talking about, I don't care what he say. I ain't supporting no black business because they just don't treat you right. And if that's what you want to believe, your thoughts create your destiny. And if that's what you want to believe about all black businesses, that's what your experience is going to be. Change the way that you think, niece. Change your outlook. But the part of the reason why you think that way is because it is in your DNA. We were taught. And that's some retooling and reteaching you have to do on yourself. Just like the same work that gay men have to do on themselves. We have to undo that stuff that we were taught about it being wrong to be gay. Like, you gotta reteach yourself. So a lot of that comes from slavery. Like you just naturally thinking that, because we were taught not to trust each other. They taught us not to trust each other because they knew if we formed an alliance, we wouldn't be in slavery. They knew we would run. But see, they had the house nigga that thought he was better, so he definitely wasn't fooling with you field niggas. You know what I'm saying? They had the better position. So why they gonna run off with y'all? They ain't about to run off with y'all. Bitch, we living in the house. Fuck that. Y'all sleeping out there in the woods, in the grass. Bitch, we in the house. So they broke us in that way. They broke us in that way. So we have got to do better. We really do. So take that outrage, for all of you that are outraged by what happened in Texas, funnel that into supporting a black-owned business. That's what you do. That's how you do that. And tithing, all that church talk that y'all be doing, because I don't even go to church. And I'm not shooting y'all down if you go to church. If you go to church, that's your business. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to church. What I'm saying is tithing transcends putting 10% in the church, okay? You could take that same 10% and help some little less fortunate child or person or family in your community. Huh? Huh? I don't hear y'all. I don't hear y'all. And that's all I got to say. One book is $20, 236, 354. The Cash App is TheWriter. Okay? And for any other questions or information about me or how to purchase the books, you can always go over to CraigTheWriterStewart.com. The podcast is free. It's called So Much to Say. It's available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you listen to a podcast. Brush your teeth, floss your teeth, brush your tongue. Get down on your knees. Say your prayers tonight. And if you can't get down on your knees and say your prayers, take a few moments and just be grateful for your life. Just be grateful for your life and just ask God, the universe, what it is you would have me learn. Right? Have an amazing night.